Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson. Welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a crazy show for y'all. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. As y'all know, I'm in New York City, and it's actually crazy doing these shows, like even doing this show that we're about to do right now, talking about Stephen A. Smith, knowing damn well Stephen A. Smith in the same city as me, man. It's crazy. Same city. Just walking around. Who knows? Maybe you run into him one day, running him somewhere. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. But anyway, you know, I've been watching shows like First Take and all of it. And it's a little bit different watching these shows live when they're going on while you're awake and all of that. It's I don't know. These shows they're more enjoyable when I watch them on like clips on YouTube and all of that. To sit down and watch the full show. First of all, I don't have the time to do that. They play in the background, so nobody's really paying attention to it. But it just had a different feel, you know, catching clips on YouTube versus actually sitting down and watching the shows live. I found the clips to be a little bit more enjoyable. But anyway, yes. So what happened? As you guys know, the Dallas Mavericks, they somehow, some way landed the first pick in the draft while having a 98.2% chance to not land it. And let me tell y'all something. A lot of people have been criticizing the NBA. I just even saw some comments this morning from Chris Mad Dog Russo saying the Dallas Mavericks getting the #1 pick really brings into question the integrity of the NBA. A lot of people have laughed about it like this thing is a joke. Like they're essentially saying that the draft is rigged. And what they're saying is this whole Luka Lakers, all of this stuff was orchestrated where you give us Luka, he goes to the Lakers, we help boost the ratings, and in return we'll give you the #1 draft pick. That's what it all seems like. And with that draft pick, you can now do whatever you want. You can trade it, keep it, whatever. Right? So there's that. But anyway, with that first pick in the draft, everybody is saying that they're going to select Cooper Flagg. And with that, they were discussing this yesterday on ESPN First Take. And I think Udonis Haslem was there. I think Kendrick Perkins was there. I think Brian Windhorst was there. And then Stephen A. Smith jumps up and says, you know what? Apart from the fact that I think Cooper Flagg is going to be an excellent basketball player, I think one of the reasons that the Dallas Mavericks should ensure that they draft him is because he's white. And he would work well with the Dallas Mavericks. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is something worth talking about. So let's talk about it. But before we even get into his comments, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Game Time. Game Time is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60-plus states in the US and Canada. Game Time saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Game Time Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. For example, I am super excited about this Game 2 matchup between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Here's what I like to do. I turn on all-in pricing so I know exactly what I'm paying for up front. I check Game Time Picks to find out the most valuable deals. And finally, I pick the ticket I want. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you.
Cooper Flagg and then everybody else. When you got somebody with that kind of potential and they're white and you are in America, you keep that dude. You keep him. I'm telling you right now, with my black self, I'm the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. I ain't thinking about drafting somebody else. I'm not thinking about moving Cooper Flagg. I'm grabbing Cooper Flagg. He's the #1 overall pick. I mean, just think about the marketing. Do you know I saw some commercial? I forgot whether it was a commercial, an endorsement deal, or whatever. Do you know he had the American flag behind him? Just think about that. Think about the marketability. I'm not talking about just keeping him because he's white. I'm saying the brother can play. He's a special talent. And then when you think about it, they just let go of Luka. So you can't let go. And let's call it what it is. That Jerry Jones taught me this. This is what I learned from that. When I say this kind of stuff, I get this kind of stuff from Jerry Jones. When I say, we're talking about Texas. That's Jerry Jones right there. That's what Jerry Jones reminded me. This is Texas. It's a little bit different. True story. This actually happened. I'm in Austin, Texas last year, South by Southwest. I'm in my hotel room. I've never seen this happen in my life. I'm watching an episode of Martin. Martin Lawrence, great comedic genius that he is. And in the middle of the episode, the program gets interrupted so they can air the national anthem with the American flag on the screen. I've never seen that happen in my life. It was on television. That's what happened, okay? Texas is different. And in Dallas, Texas, if you got an opportunity to get Cooper Flagg, you take Cooper Flagg, especially when you just let go of Luka Doncic. And especially when everybody's talking about him, best potential to be the best white American player since Larry Bird. Yes, you keep that pick. I ain't got no problems with it.
All right, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach, Stephen A., to why the Mavericks, I think, are going to do this.
Okay, so you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Wouldn't that be like a DEI hire? Why would you hire somebody just because they're white? That's crazy. Or black, or blue, or green, whatever, right? I'm just kidding. But anyway, let's break this down. What are my thoughts about what he said? First of all, I have thought about it to myself, okay? Not just the Dallas Mavericks. I've thought about it at teams as well as like the Boston Celtics. I've always wondered, not like in a way where it's like it's something I lost sleep over. I just thought to myself, like, this is interesting. I always wondered, like, the Boston Celtics have a lot of white players, and the Dallas Mavericks have a lot of white players, especially their stars players, always white. Not Nikola Jokic, Dirk Nowitzki, Luka Doncic. And now they're drafting, most likely going to draft Cooper Flagg. He's white as well. I'm like, that's interesting, right? How did they pull that off? Now, do I think that, these teams go after white players because it probably plays better in their towns? Possibly. I don't know. I really don't know. Now, I do have some thoughts about a person's color playing a role in a particular city, a city's support for a player. I think it plays a role, and I think it doesn't. I think that if you have a white player in a predominantly white city, it may kind of, look, everybody's happy to see their own kind do well, for the most part. Everybody is happy to see their own kind do well. Black people are happy to see blacks do well. Okay, so there are some fools out there. White people are happy to see white people do well, and this group and that group and this group and that group. Everybody has their thing that, that they want to support. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I think it's a natural thing where if you're a white guy or white people, you see a white player, it makes you feel good. I don't think that it's a human thing. Now, to deny that, I think you're a clown, because you're now trying to say, no, I'm above that. I've evolved beyond them, and go sit your ass down. But I don't think that you need to draft a player or have a player of a particular pigmentation in a particular city for that player to be accepted, or for people to feel like, hey, I think this guy is great. I'll give you an example. Although I've never been to Chicago, I think Chicago's a pretty interesting blend of people out there. They love Michael Jordan. In a broader perspective, Michael Jordan is loved by people all over the world. White, black, blue, green, purple, yellow, red, brown, whatever you want to call it. They love him because it's just Michael Jordan, right? So there's some people that genuinely don't care about the particular star player's color. Some people do. Some people don't. I think the vast majority don't. I think the vast majority don't spend any time thinking about it. This is just my opinion. So to Stephen A. Smith's point of, the Dallas Mavericks, to draft him because it just makes sense because he's white and all of that. I get it from an historical standpoint, what he's saying. But I think what matters more is whether or not this guy is actually good or not. Right? Because you can draft a white player that has a lot of expectations and prospects, but then if the guy goes out there and stinks up the place, who cares his color? Right? So to me, I get where he's coming from, but I don't think it's a one size fit all kind of thing where it's like, in a black city, draft a black player, in a white city, get a white player. I don't think so. But I have asked myself the question when you look at cities like Boston and Dallas, how their stars always somehow end up being white. But then, you look at the Boston Celtics, for example, they had the big three with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, and they were black too. So I don't know. But nevertheless, it was something interesting. Stephen A. Smith threw it out there. We caught it and we discussed it. And now I want to hear from you guys. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section about this topic. And we catch you guys on the next show. Peace.